Game of Thrones cut the fact that all the Stark kids are wargs, and it makes no sense and pisses me off to no end. If you're confused, please don't feel bad. We're all confused at some of the choices that Game of Thrones, a TV show, made. But yes, basically all of the Stark kids are either shown to be in the books or heavily implied to be wargs with the ability to skin change into their direwolf pup, or like adults if they live that long. Which is kind of a fascinating choice because I think it shows like the specialness or like the weirdness of the Starks themselves, because wargs or skin changers are supposed to be like 1 out of every 1,000 birth. So if there are 6 of them, in this one family, that's interesting. Now if you're confused, you're like, okay, but are they really, or are you just like theorizing here? Like, no, they really are, and let me break it down, Stark kid by Stark kid, and explain like how we know this. The first one, the big one, obviously, is going to be Bran. Bran, on top of being a warg, is also just like a skin changer in general, where he can skin change into lots of animals, as well as being a green seer, having the ability to see into the future and use the weirwood trees and all that fun stuff. Like with a lot of the kids, we first see with Bran having what are called wolf dreams. So that's when he goes to sleep, he's dreaming, but in his dream, he's accidentally skin changed into Summer, his direwolf, and is now living his best wolfy life at night. And wolf dreams play a part in several of the kids' stories. The other characters who we see have wolf dreams in their own POVs are Arya Stark and Jon Snow. In fact, Jon Snow, when he's off ranging beyond the wall, before he gets captured by the wildlings, it's him having a wolf dream that allows him to see through Ghost, where the free folk, where the wildlings are, and then report back to the Night's Watch. And that's where they openly discuss oh, you're a warg, cool. Arya, meanwhile, at this point had to send Nymeria away because she chomped at Joffrey's arm. But Arya at night keeps having wolf dreams where she is living as Nymeria, who has created this giant, enormous, monster wolf pack in the Riverlands of 100 wolves, and they just go around just terrorizing the shit out of Lannisters, and it's so funny. Another big thing with Arya is unfortunately the one who finds Catelyn Stark's dead body after the Red Wedding, because she has had a wolf dream and she has skin changed into Nymeria. And so as she is Nymeria in this wolf dream, she sees her mother's body in the river, and she dives into the river, grabs the body, pulls it out, and it's at that point that the Brotherhood Without Banners and Beric Dondarrion find Catelyn Stark and resurrect her. But that wouldn't have happened unless Arya, was a warg. Now, the remaining kids, there's less concrete evidence, because with the exception of Sansa, we don't have POVs for Robb and Rickon. But something of note is that, after Ned Stark okays them bringing back the direwolves, he insists that the kids, have to train them. You need to train these wolves, take care of them, blah, blah, blah. And they do. And all of these wolves are suspiciously well trained, considering that they were trained by, literal children, And so, apparently, seemingly, it's because, there is that mental connection between the Stark kid and their wolf. So they give the wolf a command, and the wolf responds right away and listens, because the Stark kid is literally, attached to their brain, even if they're not, actively skin changing into them. And we see this degree of obedience between Rickon, Robb, and Sansa and their respective direwolves. Now, the show seemingly ditched this because, we hate magic, and if there's too much magic, then, the football players and the soccer moms won't like the show, so we're going to cut it to make it more palatable for people. Because people don't like cool things, apparently. I don't know. Their thought process is always fascinating to me. But it's unfortunate that we lose this very important bit, because for several of the characters who don't have this connection ability in the show, we are losing big aspects of their personality and journey. Namely between Jon and Arya. So with Jon, at the end of A Dance with Dragons, Jon is killed, and his last word is ghost. So because we've at this point learned that it is possible when a warg or skin changer dies, that in that last moment they can skin change into the animal they have a connection with, and then begin their second life as that animal. Most people agree that that's kind of what Jon does. He when he says ghost, he skin changes into ghost, and that's where he is while his body is bleeding out and dead. Now, more the character side of things rather than the plot side, with Arya, Arya's wolf dreams are super important to her character because Arya's whole arc is like her having to constantly shift her identity and how that affects her and how she like tries to manage to do that while Arya Stark, like the real her, still being present. And those wolf dreams, I feel, are a huge part of that because no matter what, no matter like what persona she's put on and she's like trying to like distance herself from Arya Stark, she always comes back to those wolf dreams. There is always that connection to the real her, even if it's like she's shoving it to the back of her brain. But that's such an important thing to her character, and I think is like the impetus for what will be her eventual like return to Westeros. Finally, the last bit about the Stark kids and warging, because I know people are going to want to mention it in the comments. Yes, so I talked about how you can, skin change into your direwolf or whatever animal when you're about to die. When Robb Stark dies at the Red Wedding, well, his last words are Greywind, his direwolf's name, and so it is heavily implied that he, skin changed into the direwolf after his body died. But then don't worry, 5 minutes later, they shoot the direwolf, so Robb died twice, is basically what I'm saying. And yeah, it's sad, sorry. But anyway, if you want me to discuss any other things that the show left out, please mention them in my comments. If I haven't talked about them already, I would love to do so. Yeah, okay, cool. Have a good night. Bye-bye.